Share the Dignity is a charity that I started 5 years ago when I read an article that talked about how many homeless women there were in Australia and how they were having to use socks and newspaper and wadded up toilet paper to deal with their period. And I just couldn't believe that that was happening. 5 years later, we've collected 2.7 million packets of pads and tampons to distribute to our 2,500 charities that we work with that help the women and girls that cannot afford the very basic of essentials.
I started volunteering with Share the Dignity 3 years ago. I heard about the charity and I was like, oh, that's just really sweet. And I just moved down to the Gold Coast. I thought, it's a nice thing to do for the local community. So I made my first 2 bags. It was so exciting. Took so many photos. We have 3 key drives during the year. We have our It's in the Bag, which we're just about to go into now in November.
Yeah, I'll never forget meeting Wendy, who was a woman who had fled northern New South Wales and was living on the Gold Coast in her car with her kids. And I've got goosebumps even talking about it. She looked like you and I. She just looked like a normal everyday woman, but the torture that she'd endured in that relationship was horrific. And she said that she'd rather live in her car with her 2 boys than to ever return to that. She was so brave, but she talked about, I was at the Gold Coast homelessness event and she talked about having a tampon in for 2 days because she could not afford to buy anymore, and that using wadded up napkins to deal with any overflow was what she had to do to deal with.
I did hear about a woman who moved into a refuge and she had a young baby, and she received when she walked in, they gave her the mum and bub bag, and apparently she just collapsed in tears on the couch and really couldn't quite believe that somebody would make this for her.
Probably the worst story I ever heard was a young girl who had left a home that no girl ever deserves to be in and was living on the streets at 14 and knew to go into the laundromat to get socks out of the wash to be able to deal with her period. Imagine using somebody else's sock in your underpants to deal with your period.
So women will often use whatever they can find to manage their period. That might be wadded up toilet paper, or it might be newspapers, it might be dirty rags. I've heard of feathers and sand and pretty much anything that people can find that will absorb the blood. And some of the problems that we have there is that if we can't clean these absorbent items that they're using, is they can lead to things like different sorts of infections. I've heard stories of, say, where insects and such have laid eggs in what a woman's using, and then all sorts of horrible outcomes there.
We're asking people to donate a pre-loved handbag or a new handbag, fill it with life's necessities like shampoo, conditioner, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, soap, and then sanitary items, obviously. Then whatever you put out in your bag is up to you. You're only determined by your bag size, your imagination, and your budget. So putting in things like makeup, maybe a perfume, a scarf, sunglasses, a hat, piece of jewelry that you no longer love but is, would be something really treasured for somebody else. We do 3 different types of bags.
It's in the Bag is where you put the bag together with all of the essential items. And that only happens around Christmas time. The Dignity Drive is where we host collection boxes across all of the Woolworths stores nationally in March and in August. And we also have a lot of other areas, so ChemPro, for example, they help out as well. So they'll have them in their chemists. And people literally can just go in there and drop in a packet of pads, packet of tampons, incontinence items, a menstrual cup, period underwear, anything to do with periods and incontinence. So that's the focus of that.
So a normal ladies bag, a teen bag, which we ask people to put a yellow ribbon on, and then a mum and bub bag. So the mum and bub bags are so important. I mean, I've just had a grandchild and I could not imagine my daughter turning to hospital and not having anything. And that is really the case and scenario for lots of new mums.
I have made quite a few. I actually sort of do them throughout the year and make the most of specials. So I've made this year alone, I've done 5 mum and bub bags. So that's what I've really focused on this year because we don't get enough of those. Plus I just love buying all the baby things to go in them. Spray
on deodorant, so we'd much prefer roll-on deodorants. Any sharps, any pharmaceuticals can't go in there, and please no go to food, because chocolates melt and then ants are attracted to them. So we just probably are best to stay away from that. Packets of pads and tampons already in their sealed containers. Nappies are a little bit different. Nappies do not fall under Therapeutics Goods Association Act, so they're okay to pop them in loosely. So you can drop your bags into any Bunnings between the 20th of November to the 29th of November. And then we have these incredible people we call Shiros and Heroes who go in, pick them up, sort them and get them out to the 2,500 charities, so that every woman waking up on Christmas Day in a domestic violence refuge or experiencing homelessness receives a gift.
You know, I just the thought that somebody wouldn't have something at Christmas, that's sad.
And you know, at the end of the day, that's what It's in the Bag is all about as well, is that it's so simple to make a difference to somebody. To remove the shame and stigma around even asking for them would be something that we would be exceptionally proud to be part of as well.